Yo, what's going on guys, Arekkz here and welcome back to another Destiny video and another episode of A View from the Tower, the series that I'm producing in partnership with Game and Activision to not only talk about all of the awesome stuff coming to Destiny in Rise of Iron, but also to set the scene and recap some of the most important information for those of you jumping in for the first time. Last week we spoke about the competitive Crucible modes and the options available for those of you looking to go face to face with other Guardians, but this week we're talking about the story. If you've been playing Destiny from the very beginning, then you and your Guardian have been through a lot, and it will soon be time to embark on your quest to become an Iron Lord while simultaneously tackling the new threats that await you. But if you're setting out in this world for the first time, then you've got a bit of catching up to do. So, in this video, I'm going to condense everything that's happened in Destiny so far into as short a time frame as possible. Whether you're a veteran looking for a quick and dirty recap, or you're a new Guardian looking for a crash course, here is the story so far in about 5 minutes. Sometime during the mid-2000s, humanity noticed a strange, rather large spherical object or entity known as the Traveller that went around terraforming planets like Jupiter, Mercury, Venus, etc. It eventually ended up on Mars, so humanity sent 3 representatives to intercept it in the event that it was hostile. However, instead of being hostile, the Traveller propelled humanity into what was known as the Golden Age, a prosperous era in history during which human civilization spread far beyond the confines of Earth and expanded throughout the solar system. During this time, humanity also created the Exo, artificially intelligent war machines that operated like humans. And also during this time, among many other things, humanity conducted a lot of research into the mysterious race, the Vex. A race that could seemingly manipulate time and space whilst also living under the belief that events are predestined. However, all of this research, advancement and prosperity came to an end in what is known as the Collapse. Truth be told, not a great deal is known about this event, except for the fact that the Darkness found the Traveller and destroyed it. The Darkness is also something that we don't know a great deal about either. It's thought that it's a physical entity that clashed with the forces of Earth for an unknown period of time. Either way, in its final breath, the Traveller created a safe haven beneath its final resting place on Earth, which would later become the home to the Lost City. During this time, Rasputin, a powerful AI warmind built solely for strategic warfare, anticipated this loss and withdrew all war assets from the field until further notice was given. This left humanity vulnerable, which in turn nearly resulted in their extinction, and whilst the Earth's forces withdrew, many were wiped out near the asteroid field near Saturn and Jupiter, which resulted in an area we now know as the Reef. Those that survived were then exposed to the darkness and the radiation, which later resulted in the creation of an entirely new race, the Awoken. Also, without a central AI to command them, the Exo that were created by humanity became fully aware and fully self-reliant. The remaining humans still fought against one another until eventually the last city was formed underneath the Traveller. The city began to grow, but at the same time, so did its enemies, the first of which were the Fallen. Meanwhile, in its dying breath, the Traveller also created the Ghosts, floating AI companions capable of resurrecting dead warriors to create what we now know as Guardians. These Guardians are capable of wielding the Traveller's light to fight back the darkness. Gradually, more enemies begin to surface, the Hive located primarily on the Moon, the Vex on Venus, and the Cabal who have now all but overrun Mars. Fast forward a few years, and this is where you come in. You're woken up by a ghost, and you have your very first encounter with the Fallen, but at this point in the story, there are far bigger threats to worry about. The Hive have begun expanding their reach beyond the Moon and continue to grow in numbers, so you head over to the Moon to discover that the Hive are amassing an army with the intention of invading. Luckily, we show up in time and stop the mysterious ritual that the Hive were using to drain the power from the Traveller. We then destroy an important Hive weapon, known as the Sword of Crota, and we disrupt the communications they had going with their god, someone whom we'll encounter later. After all of this, a mysterious Exo shows up, known only as the Stranger, and tells us to head to Venus to take on a new enemy. Once there, it's our job to rip the heart out of a place known as the Black Garden, so that the Traveller can begin healing again. But before we can do that, we have to visit the Awoken Queen of the Reef. She tells us that if we want to gain access, we need to kill a Gate Lord because we need its head to enter the garden. After that, we then return to Mars to discover that the Cabal have also been trying to gain entry into the garden, but have been unsuccessful thus far. So, with the key in hand, we enter, head to the centre to find the Vex worshipping the heart, so we destroy it, and them, and in turn the Traveller begins to heal. And while that's technically the end of the story for the original game, it doesn't quite end there. There is the whole story of the Vex and the Vault of Glass, Destiny's first raid. Basically, we enter the Vault to push back the Vex a bit more to stop them messing around with time and the darkness. We kill Atheon, a big Vex dude who can also control time, and we get a lot of sweet loot as a result. I'm sure this will make much more sense eventually. Anyway, fast forward to the events of the Dark Below. Eris Morn, a former Guardian and lone survivor of a failed raid who spent the past god knows how many years surviving in the bowels of the Hellmouth, the Hive's fortress, she then returns to the tower to inform us that Crota is back. Crota, by the way, is the son of that god that the Hive were communicating with until we interrupted them. The Hive then begins showing up on Earth and they try to take over Rasputin so that they can invade. We put a stop to that. So then the Hive try to resurrect Crota's soul. We then further mess with their plans and destroy his soul and a load more Hive in the process. But after that, it's time to deal with his physical form. So we head down into the depths of the moon to seek out Crota in Destiny's second raid, Crota's End, and kill him with a sword. Job done. End of that saga. Do bear in mind though that we did just kill the son of a Hive god, but I'm sure it's fine. That definitely won't come back to bite us. So now let's fast forward to the House of Wolves. The Queen of the Reef shows up and calls in that favour that we owe her after she helped us with the Black Garden. She's having some trouble with a fallen Kell named Skolas. A Kell is a leader of a fallen house, and this particular Kell escaped capture, killed a load of Awoken, and is now hellbent on uniting the fallen houses so that they can mount an attack on the city. Basic bad guy stuff really. We then hunt him down, defeat him, and throw him in the Prison of Elders, which just so happens to be a fun activity that you can dive into and fight waves of enemies, bosses, and yes, you guessed it, Skolas too. So think of it like eternal torture for this dude stepping out of line. And that's kind of it for House of Wolves. That saga was actually pretty clean cut. But now this is where things start to get hairy. Remember that Hive god? The one whose son we killed? He's called Arekkz, and to put it lightly, he doesn't really like us very much. Enter the Taken King. Eris Morn warns Marasov, the Queen of the Reef, that Arekkz is on his way, and she convinces her to amass a fleet to try and intercept his dreadnought around Saturn. That plan doesn't go so well, lots of Awoken die, the Queen goes missing, assumed dead, but let's just hope that she's sipping mojitos on a beach somewhere. Meanwhile, the Vanguard intercept a signal from the Cabal on Phobos. We head over there to check it out to find the Cabal being slaughtered by a new enemy, the Taken. These are Oryx's boys, so yes, stuff is happening. Turns out Arekkz plans to build an army by enslaving other enemy races, Vex, Cabal, Fallen, and yes, even other Hive. Realising that the Taken are too deadly to handle, the Vanguard then sends the Guardians to rediscover the lost powers of their forebearers, Nightstalker, Stormcaller, and Sunbreaker. With these new powers, we set out to create a landing zone on the Dreadnought so that we can begin our plan to take out Arekkz. Luckily, the Cabal are also there and have been doing some digging around, so we steal information from them pertaining to Arekkz and learn that there's a portal called a Rupture that leads directly to Oryx's throne room. Only in order to enter said Rupture, we have to assume the Ascendant status. For the sake of time, just know that we do that and end up in his throne room in the physical world. We kill a version of Arekkz known as an Echo, but if you kill a Hive God in the physical world, they just go back to their throne room. So, therein lies the reason for the third raid, King's Fall. We make our way to Oryx's throne room and kill him on his home turf. In Hive logic, this means he is really dead. Like, dead. Goodbye, sayonara, hasta la vista baby, all that stuff. So once again, day saved. Sweet, surely it's time for a holiday, right? No, now it's time for Rise of Iron. But, seeing as the game isn't out yet, we don't actually know the story, but we do know the beginning. So, let's quickly set the scene. Lord Saladin, an Iron Lord, normally known for running the show when the Iron Banner comes around, has left his post to inform us of a disruption in the Plaguelands. It seems Siva has returned and the Fallen are messing around with it. Siva is a technological plague with almost limitless power, and once upon a time, Saladin and his other Iron Lord compadres, who are sadly dead now and honoured as statues in the Iron Temple, once sealed Siva away because they knew how dangerous it was. Sadly, the Fallen Splicers dug it up and have started messing around with it, augmenting themselves with it, and in general opening a very dangerous can of worms. So that's where we come in, and that is where our story begins. As for what happens next, well, we'll just have to find out when Rise of Iron launches. In the meantime, that is pretty much everything that's happened in Destiny to date. Of course, there is plenty of lore hidden in the background. If you guys want to find out more, then throughout the game, you collect what are known as Grimoire cards. These can then be found on Bungie.net or the Destiny app, and they contain a lot of lore and backstory that helps give wider context to what's been going on in game, and also some stuff we have yet to encounter. But hopefully this video at least got you up to speed, and if you did enjoy it, then a like would be super appreciated. Comment down below, let me know your thoughts, and if you want more Rise of Iron videos, then of course I have loads over on the channel, plus if you want more Destiny information, you can check out Games Destiny Hub, also linked down below. But until next time, thank you for watching, take it easy, catch you next time, peace out.